After years of strong anticipation, Irrational Games has at last treated us with the third installment in their unbelievable BioShock franchise, BioShock Infinite. I'm SirJamesDTech, here to tell you all about it. BioShock Infinite begins on a rowboat in murky waters in the year 1912, with our main protagonist, Booker DeWitt, a New York City private investigator, headed towards an all-too-familiar lighthouse accompanied by two very loquacious characters. Almost immediately, we're presented with a wonderful representation of not only religious undertones to come, but also Booker's own scoffing nature when he proclaims,
"Good luck with that, pal."
Things tense up while negotiating through the lighthouse, with question marks appropriately popping up over the player's head, until we're dashed up Apollo 13 style into Columbia, a city seemingly floating in the heavens, which decades earlier left America due to its quote-unquote social tolerances. Columbia is in full color the shining city on the hill that America is to some people, at least when our eyes first see it. The stage is set at the Welcome Center with expansive pools complete with floating flower petals, along with statues and murals referring to quasi-Christian messages, and a truly creepy baptism scene, which you will want to tuck away and put in the recess of your mind for later. Let me say that the subtle singing in this section is unbelievably beautiful, so please don't rush through it. However, as usually happens with a captive society, one man sits about to be worshipped above all others. And given the fact that he has a 100-foot-high statue of himself in the town square, the prophet Zachary Comstock has succeeded. Comstock is in no doubt derived from the real-life Anthony Comstock, the so-called moral crusader from the same era, who was nothing more than a censorship fanatic. Father Comstock, as some refer to him as, is a man who fashions himself a pious figure who delivered Columbia from Sodom, or America, in much the same way the Ark was saved in the flood. While he is not as strong an antagonist as Andrew Ryan, his ominous presence follows you like a dark storm cloud throughout your journey, all the way until a heart-stopping and satisfying ending that will still have you thinking about it days later. Something you'll discover very quickly is that the conversations by Columbia's residents can give you valuable nuggets of insight regarding society and cultural norms there. You'll want to stop near every couple you mosey past and eavesdrop, although this seems to be more of an Archie Bunker style of heaven, with the way any non-white is abhorrently discriminated against. Some other ways of unearthing very interesting information is through the discovery of voxophones, which are specific personal inner thoughts of some very key members of the narrative, and kinetoscopes, which are more of the official government press releases to the public in silent film form. There are thankfully at the beginning subtle touches like a building you can enter where an underground railroad system is in place, complete with freedom pamphlets being printed, and the downtrodden are being sheltered. It makes you appreciate that not everyone on Cloud 9 is completely brainwashed. Obviously, the overlords of this heavily segregated civilization are completely unhinged zealots, with portraits of George Washington leading a Confederate revolution or the worship of John Wilkes Booth. All of this while xenophobic followers literally pray to the Founding Fathers. While this was a bit off-putting early in the game, as you progress through the narrative, it is solidified that it's all about the heart of humanity as a whole, and that all people are capable of truly evil things and beliefs. As is the tendency of any tyranny, there is a boogeyman enemy identified called the Vox Populi, which by definition is virtually anyone who's not drinking the Comstock Kool-Aid. You'll want to be careful with who you label as a friend, as power seems to carry with it the same inherently dark traits. There are several references to a false shepherd which must be kept from the lamb, who is a child destined to purify the Sodom below. It is key to keep in mind all that you hear about the false shepherd, as it bears great significance to the tale. That appropriately described lamb is Elizabeth, the girl Booker is tasked with securing and bringing back with him to New York in order to clear his debts. Trapped in a statue tower with dreams of seeing Paris, I have to tell you the truth. Elizabeth is the true beacon on the hill. In her Rapunzel-esque charm, her charismatic and innocent character effectively transmitted through her eyes and superb dialogue. She gives BioShock Infinite the soft side, which far surpasses the little sister's sentimentality in the first two. Elizabeth adds so much to the story, not just in narrative purposes, but with the way you truly come to care for her. For an example of that, soak in this quick scene.
Will the circle be unbroken by and by, by and by? Is a better home awaiting in the sky, in the sky?
If you have a heartbeat, that scene touched you. Elizabeth possesses the unique ability to manipulate tears, which are anomalies in time and space that can at times leave your jaw on the ground with possibilities the story could take to maximize the tear's potential. And I can confidently say that the game more than fulfills all hopes and expectations. While she certainly doesn't take an active role in battling foes, and can you blame her? She's been locked in a tower her whole life. She does provide you with timely health, ammo, or salt replenishes, but not to such an extent that it feels like the game is out of balance. And when scavenging about, her lockpicking ability and propensity for tossing you coins right when you need them is important to surviving battles and discovering new nuggets throughout the story, as beyond these locked doors can lie hidden vox phones, infusions which raise your permanent armor, health, or salt, or gear, which are articles of clothing that give you boosts in areas such as melee damage or shield recharge times. The salts I mentioned is in reference to how vigors are expended, which are special powers that can be used in tandem with the gunplay and includes the ability to charm turrets into fighting on your side temporarily, lift up enemies with a bucking bronco vigor, leaving them defenseless to your attacks, or as expected, toss a fire grenade at somebody and blow the hell out of them. To add to the tension is Elizabeth's winged tower warden, Songbird, who chases you and Elizabeth all around and has a very convenient knack for separating you two every time escape seems to be within your reach. For battling, there are only 2 weapon slots, which was sort of disappointing because I came across so many situations where I wished I could have had a carbine rifle, sniper rifle, and RPG. But I suppose that would have made the game a bit too easy. And at medium difficulty level, I was given a fair challenge throughout. It took me around 13 hours to complete the full campaign, even though there were several side missions I skipped. It's a length that feels just right, and so many levels of Columbia society are examined that there's absolutely no sense of glossing over. A method of travel in specific locations is the use of skylines, which you can jump up on and zip along in order to flank enemies, or at times trigger a chapter-ending cutscene. These can be very useful in battle, or for the sheer thrill of seeing the city from an angle not often presented in games. Sound is very high quality, with the score by Gary Scheinman providing a perfectly tense atmosphere at just the right moments in battle, rising to an unmistakable crescendo followed by the music calming after the last enemy has been eliminated, which helps a great deal because then you don't have to go searching around for the lone camping sniper. And other than a situation here or there, where you'll be listening to a Vox phone message and either Booker or Elizabeth will start talking, there are no vocal glitches, and the voice acting by Troy Baker and Courtney Draper are truly first-rate. On ultra settings, the game looks great. There are some textures like rose bushes being fairly ugly and flat, and nicely textured signs being oddly placed on top of very low-quality doors. But it's important to note that this game was made using the Unreal Engine 3, which although it was heavily modded, this is a rather dated engine. So I applaud Irrational Games for squeezing as much out of it as they can, especially in terms of truly intelligent AI and remarkable draw distance. There aren't many graphics options other than the standard ones, and no tessellation is available. So somebody with a rather higher end system should have no trouble maxing everything out and having smooth frame rates. The overall combat isn't terribly exciting, but that's hardly a huge issue. because it's really more about what you can do creatively in the combat. You know, can you have Elizabeth rip open a tear for a machine gun or one of those Patriot machines that you can get to fight on your side? Beyond all the technical aspects and racial and class undertones, this story is truly memorable because of Elizabeth. So don't let the relatively slow start to the tale and somewhat dislikability of Booker DeWitt dissuade you. You'll be given an amazing reward in Elizabeth, with her incredibly refreshing and sometimes heartbreaking true companionship qualities. Elizabeth is truly one of the greatest characters, never mind the female aspect, but actual rich characters in game history. And Irrational Games are to be commended for braving through release delays in order to get everything right. Look, just go out and get it and experience it for yourself. Because I promise anyone who is a fan of science fiction, love, or if you enjoy having a game touch your soul, then I implore you to pick up BioShock Infinite and let it take you on a journey you'll never forget. A 9.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching, everybody. And please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, SirJamesDTech, and also follow me on Twitter, @SirJamesDTech. Until next time, talk later.